people are driven by echoes of the past to chart a course for an exalted future. Africa is at this threshold, as major actors in the Africa arena plot a renaissance towards common destiny. Let's pedal across the streams of yesterday, from the back streets of Africa to the defining roles of policymakers, the political realities of the African nation, balance of power, and the strive to sustain national interest and identity. Join us on Network Africa on Channels Television. Network Africa, the rallying point for the emergence of a new Africa.
Hello and welcome. I am Adeshawa Josh. This week on Network Africa. Twin bomb explosions rock Alkali Road GRA and Kawo Motor Park in Kaduna North-West Nigeria, killing over 70 people.
One small boy stood by this J5 and waiting for the check to go to pass. Immediately, that what he was operating, he made an attempt, but he was stopped. But he succeeded at last in hitting those behind him.
Rallies take place home and abroad as protesters demand the release of the Chibok schoolgirls who have now spent over 100 days in captivity. South Africans celebrate Nelson Mandela International Day as President Jacob Zuma lead hundreds to a posthumous birthday celebration for Madiba. We'll bring you details after the break. We'll be right back. We'll start here in Nigeria. And it was a dark Wednesday for the people of Kaduna in northwest Nigeria, as over 70 people were killed in a twin bomb blast that killed more than 70 people. The first explosion went off on Alkali Road in GRA, and about 3 hours later, another bomb was detonated at Kawo Motor Park in Kaduna metropolis. Meanwhile, the second bomb blast was reportedly targeted at the former head of state, General Muhammadu Buhari, whose car was badly damaged and 3 of his aides injured. However, he narrowly escaped the blast.
Lifeless bodies, burnt vehicles, and people wailing. These are the images that greet people on the Alkali Road in Kaduna town of Kaduna State as a result of the first bomb blast that ripped through that street on Wednesday.
Before the flyover.
The incident, which is reported to have claimed 25 lives, occurred when a young boy laden with explosives allegedly rammed into the convoy of a popular Islamic preacher, Sheikh Tahiru Bauchi, who was returning from an engagement.
It is after the program ended peacefully that on his way on Alkali Road, that somebody, one small boy, stood by this J5 and waiting for the check to go to pass. Immediately, that what he was operating, he made an attempt, but he was stopped. But he succeeded at last in hitting those behind him. That's why we have this casualty. 25 one found dead. 25 and 14 injured in this hospital.
We evacuate the casualty to nearby hospitals, and which they are in 44 and Yusuf and Soho. And also we have packed the dead bodies to the mortuary.
As if that wasn't enough, another explosion rocked the town. This time around, it was very close to the headquarters of the 1 Division of the Nigerian Army near Kawo, where a Sienna car attempted ramming into General Muhammadu Buhari's convoy. Though the general escaped unhurt, this blast, like the first, is reported to have claimed 50 lives. In the meantime, the state government has imposed a 24-hour curfew on Kaduna metropolis, with the state governor describing the incident as an act of cowardice by those bent on creating tension in the state.
And as residents of Kaduna reel from the twin blasts, the federal government says it is stepping up efforts to stop terrorism in the country. However, spokesperson of the Department of State Services, Mrs. Marilyn Orga, pleaded with the citizens to take charge of security in their neighborhood. Spoke to a security expert on how easy it is to really identify a suicide bomber.
We can identify by perhaps the kinds of intentions, stated intentions, the kind of things he says, what kind of people he goes about with. Perhaps he's having continuous nocturnal meetings, and the kind of association he seems, his rhetoric, that will kind of give you some indications. Now, there are TAPIs, which you can also, TAPIs are terrorist attack pre-incident indicators that you can also key in on to identify terrorists in the community. Someone who starts buying a lot of death codes or buying fuel oil, that's diesel, when he doesn't own a diesel-operated generator, or he's buying a lot of fertilizer and storing it, or collecting a lot of cans, because these are the ingredients for bomb making. The purpose of suicide bombing is to get the bomb to the right target, to put it on target, so that you are sure that you are taking out who you want to take out. That means you are killing the person you want to kill, the actual target, because it's designed to create precision in terms of target acquisition and target elimination. That is killing the person that you intend to kill. Now, your question, of course, is how do we recognize a suicide bomber? Now, suicide bombing is just a generic term. There are so many types of suicide bombing. You have vehicle-borne IEDs, suicide bombers who operate that way. The guy who tried to attack General Buhari yesterday, for example, was operating a vehicle. He had his device in the car, and he was trying to ram the general's vehicle such that the detonation will now kill the general. Now, so that was a targeted, what we call a targeted or a calculated assassination. Now, he tried to penetrate the general's convoy, and he was driving very furiously. He tried to penetrate the general's convoy, and they kept blocking him. So what the threat detection in that case was made possible by surveillance by the general's protective detail. So the fact that they were alert and they were looking out for threats was made it possible for them to recognize that threat. So you see, his behavior was highly unusual. He came up on a 3-car convoy, and he was trying to penetrate. He was trying to force his way. So they had to physically block him, and that, of course, saved the general's life, because the guy, that bomber had passed the security car. That is what we call the follow-me car that was behind the general. I think he had passed and come level with the general's jeep. He would have detonated.
Give us tips that can alert a layman in a community
as to the presence